Okay, good morning, everyone. Excuse me. Okay, welcome everyone to the 10-minute trades trade room. We're here for the CL storage report. My name is Lee Goldstein. I'm the trading director for 10-minute trades. Remember that all the trades we discuss are for educational purposes, and it is possible to lose money trading futures. So we would like you all to trade carefully, trade smart, and don't trade over your head. Okay? Now, what's interesting is oil and gas started out the summer trading rather poorly, and they're finishing the summer trading much better. Let's take a look at the DMM. Now, they're not family money trades. There's nothing we can do. Hang on one second, I'm losing my voice. I was saying they're not family money trades. I'm not sure we can make oil a family money trade. It goes through periods where it trades very well, and then it goes through periods where it's just very inconsistent, lots of reversals, hard to make money. Natural gas, on the other hand, natural gas has been trading rather well for more than a year now. It's had a few periods. The problem with natural gas is sometimes it takes place so fast that trades that look like great winners are not. And that also happens with oil. So it's hard to make them family money trades because they have extra risk because of the speed with which the reactions often take place. That's the big issue with oil. Fast reactions. So let's take a look at a bunch of reports. I'll show you the DMM. The DMM is our daily trade report for all the folks that are watching us on YouTube. So, I mean, it looks like the last 5 have been winners. So let's check and see what actually happened with the trade room results. And some of the reports we've traded, I know we tried a couple of squeeze plays. There are different ways you can trade oil. When it's trading well, like it appears to be now, I like to test the breakout. Because if it starts trading breakouts, what we were thinking is that after the summer, and we're only 2 weeks of trading away from the summer being over, and you can even argue a little bit that maybe next week is the end of summer trading because we've got a jobs report. But Labor Day is late this year, so it kind of puts a little bit of a monkey wrench into what we would call the end of summer trading. I think it sort of delays it by a week, even though there are major reports next week. But so crude's been looking pretty good. Let's see what the move was last week. So I'm just fast forwarding through our video from last week. And there's our bracket. And you could see it went up, it pulled back a little bit, but looked like a good winner. A little bit choppy, not very, and looked like it went through all the targets. Very big drawdown. Very big drawdown. In other words, a lot less oil was around than expected, and it followed that news, and the price went up. Less inventory available could equal higher prices in a reaction, and that's exactly what happened. Sometimes the Tuesday report that we trade, if it has a very, very, very big news offset, meaning that the difference between the expected news and the actual result, if that number is very, very large, sometimes it carries through to the Wednesday report. And last night was not that situation. They were expecting a drawdown last night. They got less of a drawdown, but still a drawdown. So it wasn't really a big news offset that I would think has any, it doesn't have any bearing on today, in my opinion. So the 18th was a solid winner. And I do remember people in the trade room that traded live, they did make money last week. Then we go to the 11th. Now, if you'd be kind enough, if you're watching us on YouTube, give us a couple of likes. It really helps us out. We really appreciate it. Give us a couple of likes. Now, on the 11th, it looked like target 1 was a possibility. In other words, it never quite got to target 2 in my setup before pulling back. And very often what I'll do is I'll make a note in my journal. And that's exactly what my note says. Target 1 then reversed. So it was possible to get a profit on target 1. And that's a small profit. You have to remember that. If you look at the daily market report that we put out, target 1 is only 7 ticks. Okay. It's not a gigantic move, and you're risking 12. Then we had August 4th. And I think I was testing a different setup. I think I was trying the squeeze play, but you can still look at the way the bracket traded. So let's go to 10:30. I don't know why I'm losing my voice this morning, but I am. Okay, so watch the left side. Watch the left side. That was a pretty good, solid breakout move. It was fast. And then we did the squeeze play where we tried to get a move in the same direction on a pullback. The idea of the squeeze play is you wait for the original move, and then you look at the news result. And if the news result is negative and there's a trend that day that agrees with the news result, only then do I take what I consider taking a discretionary squeeze trade if I wasn't doing the breakout. You could see we traded the micro future and it worked on the breakout. The breakout worked. The squeeze play also worked. In other words, the idea is you get your initial move. You're not trading the initial move. First of all, oil was down well over $1 that day. So you're looking for a negative report. Probably would not take a positive report. I wouldn't go long. It would take a short trade if the opportunity presents itself. So you have a negative trend. And if the news report is negative, red, which it is, it pulls down, then you're trying to get in on that move back up for the second move down. Okay. And that's exactly what happened. It hit the first target and then hit the second target. You got to be quick. This is a setup you have to practice. That's called the squeeze play. and on the right, we were using the breakout. And everybody knows we're having webinars every week. We will have a squeeze play webinar. Trap trade webinar coming up, squeeze play webinar. This week I have a sales webinar on Saturday. So that's an external webinar. When we don't have an external sales webinar, we will have internal educational webinars. Okay, we're going to do them once a week. I'm going to try anyway. I mean, I'm sure there'll be a few weeks we can't do it. Now, there's quite a few people here, so I do want to post my webinar link. I'm going to be performing. That's sort of true. I'm going to be giving a webinar on Saturday, and it would be really nice if you would all register. Here's the link. 8 traders. Saturday, my favorite day to work. Love working Saturdays. All right, July 28th, oil report. Let's see what it looked like. And you could see even in an older daily report, oil is looking better. Oil started the summer with problems, and then it's starting to trade better. But there are some weeks that the moves have been so fast, it was hard to make much profit because it would fill you towards the bottom of the candle after the bulk of the move. And that's one of the issues you're dealing with on very, very fast reactionary reports. Now, that was a pretty slow fill. Pretty slow fill. Not sure. Let's watch that again. The error was caused on the right side of the chart. We discovered that that was the first time we tried to trade micro oil, and it turned out that there was a bug in the NinjaTrader simulation template because the error says no risk settings are defined. In other words, you couldn't trade MCL without fixing the template error. And we do have the fix for that. So if you're trying to trade MCL for the first time and you're trying to simulate a trade, you have to fix the NinjaTrader simulation workspace. And it's a very simple fix. But we didn't know that. They didn't do an email. They didn't tell us. So when we tried to trade MCL on our first test, it threw that error. It was a NinjaTrader error. So it wasn't, and it was in simulation. That's why we got the error. You could see the breakout worked perfectly, though. It looked like an excellent breakout at the end of July. Not that fast. You're looking for bursts that are not so fast that you get a good fill. That's the key with oil and fast moving trades. I mean, it popped up, but the trade started off rather leisurely, and it didn't pull back so much that it would have hit your stop out. So July 29th looks good. Jeff, you'd have to send me an email for that fix. help@10minutetrades.com. It's too much to explain. I'd have to send you the file. help@10minutetrades.com. If you're able to trade MCL in Sim, then you might, maybe they updated it in a newer version. I would assume in the next version of NinjaTrader, the fix will be made that it's a temporary, definitely a temporary issue. And then let's look at July 21st. July 14th, the oil report, I don't know if you all remember, but the news never came out. It was an hour and a half delayed. Some problem. They never really said why. And so we would have canceled that trade. So I don't have any video worth looking at. This is the last week, July 14th. We canceled the report. The news eventually came out an hour and a half late. And it was really weird. It didn't work properly because people didn't know what happened either. So this was July 21st. Fills to the downside. Looks like definitely target one was not a problem. Trying to stay alive. And it pulls back. Looks like a target one would have been viable on July 21st. So you could see some small winners, and then it kept going. Then it wound up still heading down. So depending what you did with your stop after your first target was hit, that would have a bearing on whether you would have survived and able to get both targets. A lot of times with oil, if you make 7 ticks, a lot of times you want to protect that target, that small profit, because it does reverse often. It's the old why turn a winner into a loser. The problem is that it's not a big winner. So when you do have a loser, you need more than one winner to make up for it. That's one of the reasons oil over time is more difficult than some other reports to return a profit historically. But it has been trading pretty well over the past 5 weeks. That's what it looks like to me. So today I would test our breakout strategy because it's working very well. It's not a family money trade. We've talked about it a lot of times. There are members that like to trade oil live. They use our setup. And then there's a couple of members also that trade it using the squeeze play setup, which is more a discretionary entry. And that's an interesting way to trade oil. You could also try to trade reversals on oil. It reverses often enough that you could use our reversal setup and try to set up a simple reversal trade. Oil offers a lot of different opportunities for different methods of trading the report because the movement is so varied almost every week. In other words, almost every week you get a big move, a reversal, a follow through, a reversal. I mean, there's a lot of possible opportunities. And then we have a member also who actually uses the squeeze on a 30-second chart. And when it changes color and momentum, that's a reversal signal using a value of 17 as the momentum value in the squeeze indicator. In other words, if you look at the squeeze indicator and you look at the momentum length, if you make that momentum length 17 on a 30-second chart, then when you get a change in direction, let's say it's moving down like it is here, then you get a different color change. It moved up. That's often a good reversal signal. And we have members doing that. We have a lot of people trading oil a lot of different ways. For us, we're trading family money trades as about 85%, 90% of what we do, maybe 85%. Then we have test trades, but oil, we've been trading oil enough. We really don't have to test it at this point. The only thing we're looking for is oil trading as a breakout well again to make it worth taking it live, because that's our method of trading. So today I'm just going to test our normal bracket breakout trade on this yellow line on the daily report. Easy setup. Right click the old chart, click on strategies, double click on JOBBV9, and then it shows up under configured. Then you have a bracket of 10 for oil. Position is up to you, how many contracts you want to trade. Keep in mind margin, roughly $2,000 a contract, depending on your broker. First target is 7 ticks. Second target is 15. And the stop is 12. And then the entry time on oil is 10:29:58. So who out there is trading oil live with our settings? Anybody out there trading oil live with our settings? Breakout trade, I always label the trade, CL. Report. Everybody's been really quiet this past week or so. Very quiet. Anybody out there? So targets of 7 and 15, stop of 12. It's a breakout trade. That's the setup. Everybody alive out there or what? Don't forget to enable your trade. Turn on the recorder for me. All right, Nimro's alive. Jennifer, nice to see you. I'm glad a few people are alive out there. I told you it gets lonely out here. This is a lonely job. Jeff, I know you're here. Let's check our time sync. How do you check your time sync? Everybody knows that by now. We go to the website time.is. No likes on YouTube. There's a whole bunch of people in there. How about a like, folks? Give me 3 likes. Give me 3 likes, will you? It helps us out. It helps keep us streaming. I know you enjoy the streaming or you wouldn't come. Checking our time sync by going to the website time.is. Once again, it likes me and it puts my computer in sync. That's right. When you're on a stage, you can see the audience. In here, you can't see anything. Well, I can see who's here. I have to make a special effort to see who's here. All right, so we got about 6 minutes to go. So the important number is crude oil inventories. That's really the only number we really have to look at. Man, some people would say gasoline production is important in the summer. Gasoline inventories, not production. Gasoline inventories is important in the summer. I don't know if you ever watched the gasoline futures trade. Very, very crazy future to trade. Low volatility, low liquidity, very fast moving, very hard to trade. So they're expecting a drawdown. Looks like they're expecting a drawdown of 2 million. It says 2.68 million. Now, what's interesting is Financial Juice has just 2 million. That's a big difference in what investing.com is expecting. I tend to believe Financial Juice more. I think they're more accurate in general. I have, yes, Jeff, I have performed recently, and I've never found that people use their phones when I've been playing. It never was an issue. And I would have to say, because I'm really funny when I perform, and I think people like to laugh. That's the one thing I found. People love to laugh at a show. And if you can get the audience laughing, they're 100% behind you, and they're not really looking at their phones. But I've never really, it's never been a big problem. Anyway, it's one of the, you got to figure if someone wants to go out and hear music, they could mess with their phone after the show. So I've never, even when I go see people myself, I'm never usually screwing around with my phone when I go listen to music. But I would guess that there's plenty of concerts where people don't pay attention. But there's been so few real concerts lately, also because of the world situation. Um, even now, there's a lot of chaos in the concert industry right now. The whole music business has changed. Years ago, you made money from royalties on records and music that was played. Then it became 100, almost 90% streaming started, and selling records ended. They stopped even making records, almost stopped making records for a while. Vinyl's made a big comeback now. It's still a cult market. I'd say vinyl sells. It's not like the CD market ever was. But musicians traditionally now make the bulk of their money playing live, and most of them haven't been able to play live. They've gotten really hurt badly by this mess that we're in. It's been really tough on people I know. Really difficult times for musicians, and quite a few people have canceled their current tours. Neil Young canceled his current tour because of what's going on in the world. Difficult times for musicians. Venues really struggling. All right, so we got about a minute to see how this report behaves. Somebody out there must be trading live. So expecting a drawdown of 2 million plus. Normally that would push the price up a little bit if it draws down more than that, you'd think. Almost matching news, not that far off from what they were expecting. That's why you're not getting a gigantic reaction. I personally would probably cancel this oil trade. I'll let it stay on because I'm testing in a simulation mode. So why did it go up? Okay, if you think about it, more oil was used than expected. It was 2.9, right? So that's why it went up. It's difficult to keep an oil trade on when it doesn't respond. It's definitely difficult to keep a trade on when it doesn't respond. You're risking, $240. There is risk. Normally, if and the news, yes, there was a build. It's considered there was more of a drawdown, which would push the price up, but it wasn't so big. It was 2.97 versus 2.68, depending who you believe. Now, if you believe financial juice, it was a larger drawdown, giving more motivation for the price to go up. And this looks like, let's look at the video. Anybody trade live with our settings that stayed in? Anybody who traded live with our settings and stayed in? I think it would have worked. It looks like it would have worked. And I'm sorry that I made you cancel, AJ. That's the truth. I'm sorry that I said I would have canceled. Because, it was not so scary. It's just that when oil doesn't fill right away, it so often fills right away that it just makes me uncomfortable when it doesn't. It doesn't mean it's 100% not going to work, obviously. Today it worked. Let's look at the video. MCL has those low volume bursts. I've been noticing on every Wednesday, there's a low volume wick on the micro future, which leads me to think it's still not super high liquidity, the MCL. AJ, I'm glad to hear that you were canceling on your own and not because of me. Because I always feel bad if my decision might have cost you money, especially when I'm not trading live. I'm just, saying what I would have done had I been trading live. I would have gotten out of that trade. I would not have made the profit because it makes me uncomfortable when oil doesn't fill right away. Because its history is probably 90%, 95% right away it fills. And when I mean right away, I mean in a second. So here's today's trade. Also, the news result, I was thinking it was not as big of a difference between what was expected. Then, in retrospect, thinking about financial juice, it was bigger than we thought. You have a 15-second fill, almost 18 seconds. It's an official cancel for us. That for us is officially canceled, regardless. Okay. Our report has a cancel rule on this event. Here's the cancel rule. 10 seconds. Okay. That's our official rule. That doesn't mean I follow them all the time. We've talked a lot about this, how sometimes the news has been delayed this whole year and the past 18 months. A lot of reports have been delayed, not oil so much as others. Watch what happens here. So the news comes out. The news is on time. There's a very minimal impact initially. Okay. 10 seconds. We are officially canceled. Then it fills to the long side, pulls back under your entry, not enough to stop you out, and then it heads up and hits both targets. I would call this a winning trade. Okay. I would call that a winning oil trade. Oil's been trading well. It's been trading well. When we've got a lot of initiatives we're going to be doing, making a lot of changes for after Labor Day. Some of them will take a couple of weeks to get done, but I'm planning, if things go the way I think in the initiatives that we're doing, that we will be trading oil and gas pretty regularly. It's one of my plans, but they're not family money trades, so we need a proper second account that's big enough to trade it the proper way, not one contract. Trading the oil report and the gas report with one contract is not the best way to do it. It's too hard to figure out what target you should use. You really want to trade oil and gas with multiple targets. Okay, any questions, folks? This is a quiet summer week. We've got one, let's see, I think we have a couple of events tomorrow. We do have a money trade tomorrow. YouTube, before you go, a couple more likes. What do you say? Couple more likes would really be nice. Tomorrow, we've got the 7-year note auction. Now, very honestly, folks, 8:30 preliminary GDP. Now, we had a really bad trade on advanced GDP about a month ago. It was a good number, but just a bad reaction. So I did not want to make this a family money trade because I don't want to take the risk in the dead of summer. If preliminary GDP was trading by itself, it's a family money trade. Okay. Trading with unemployment claims makes it more complicated, and being dead of the summer makes it even more complicated. But I will trade it in my smaller account, live preliminary GDP. Now, look, you could use micro gold on it if you want to. And then we have natural gas and 7-year note, which is a family money trade. And then we have a very quick trade room on Friday. It's an 8:30 report. I can't stay past 8:32. I have to run out of here right at 8:32 on Friday. And that's a report that we're testing, I'm expecting personal income and spending to become a viable report to trade soon. Last month, it did not show that it was very interested in doing that. But tomorrow, interesting. We have 3 interesting trades. Preliminary GDP with unemployment claims. The GDP should take precedence. Natural gas, which has been trading incredibly well. We've been watching profits, and we've been seeing some fast moves also. And then the 7-year note auction. Bonds have been a little bit challenging, but they have their good and their bad days. Okay, any questions, folks? Did anyone trade oil live besides AJ? Anybody else try to trade oil live? I want to thank you, everybody on YouTube. Yes, MCL DW has been doing those low volume bursts. Very hard to get filled on those bursts. You get filled at the top of the candle and stopped out on the reversal. So you want to be careful trading MCL because it would have filled you. It's such a low volume burst and then it pulled back down. I don't think it would have been a great trade on MCL. So I don't see anyone that traded live. So if there's no questions, I'll see everybody tomorrow early, 8 o'clock. in the room for GDP, unemployment, and then we got natural gas, and then we've got 7 years, the 7-year itch. All right. So thanks everybody for coming. Thank you on YouTube for watching and giving us the likes. Appreciate it very much. And we'll be streaming tomorrow. And I'll see everybody tomorrow. All right. Have a good rest of your day, folks. And I'll see everyone tomorrow.